Hey folks, last week we brought you part one of the Upper Delaware BioBlitz. This week we talked to the National Park Service about their role in the Delaware River and the role they played in the BioBlitz right now when we go out in the open. Out in the Open is brought to you by Dunkelberger Sports Outfitters, Mountain View Realty, the Lake Region, Greentown, and Lighthouse Harbor Marina on Lake Wallenpaupack. Hey folks, welcome back to this edition of Out in the Open. Of course, we're coming here from Dunkelberger's right here in Stroudsburg, and don't forget our other store just opened down there in the West End. Big store, big store.
Yes.
We got a good show. We were out there talking to some people with the BioBlitz, and the National Park Service has a presence on the Delaware River, a big presence.
Right.
They do a lot of things that people really don't know. We're going to talk to Don Hamilton, so let's go out. We'll go out and talk to Don Hamilton. Hey folks, welcome. We're talking with Don Hamilton. He's with the National Park Service. And this is part two of the Upper Delaware River BioBlitz, and we're going to learn a little bit about the National Park Service. Don is the director of the Natural Resources Division of the Upper Delaware River, the National Park Service. Why don't we refresh people? What's the National Park Service?
Well, the National Park Service is an agency within the Department of Interior, and we manage a lot of federal lands that have been designated as National Park Service units. Some of those are national parks, or national seashores, lake shores, historic areas, recreational areas. So there's a variety of different types of areas that the Park Service manages. Some of them with significant natural resources, such as the Upper Delaware Scenic and Recreational River.
Now, what does that mean now? It's been designated as the Upper Delaware as a scenic national recreation river.
It was designated as a unit within the National Wild and Scenic Rivers section, or National Wild and Scenic Rivers Act, and to qualify for that, rivers have to have outstandingly remarkable values, high water quality, and free-flowing conditions.
The river's in pretty good shape, isn't it?
Yeah, the Delaware is a very healthy river. It's the last major river on the Atlantic coast on dam the length of its main stem. It has exceptional water quality, great connectivity with the ocean and sea-run migratory fish, which add to its biodiversity and its ecosystem health.
If I were to ask you, the Upper Delaware River, is it on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the best, when the Indians were here, I'd say 200 years ago, 300 years ago, how's the water quality compare?
Well, I can't say because we don't have data from back then. But
well, what do you think?
Actually, it's maintained very good water quality. The upper basin of the Delaware is still over 80% forested, so it remains a landscape with the ability to produce clean water. And the clean water and the natural resources here are really exceptional.
You took part in this BioBlitz, and a major part in this BioBlitz with all your people and experts, and you gathered some experts, and we do have some flies out here because we are outdoors. I mean, this is out in the open, and we have one bothersome fly here. We're on the porch here at the Delaware Highlands Conservancy where we're bringing the show from, and so you know, we're not really just flitching around. There is a fly that's flying around. But anyway, you took part in this, and a major part in it. And how did you get involved in this, and what did you do?
Well, Steve Schwartz approached us early on, last fall actually, about doing a BioBlitz and being involved in it, and we saw it as an effort to really highlight our natural resources and talk about the value of them, and so we decided to support the effort. I was on the steering committee. There were a number of Park Service employees involved in the BioBlitz itself as team leaders or team members, and so it was seen as a very worthwhile effort and an opportunity to really highlight and explain the biological diversity we have here and how that contributes to ecosystem health.
You take part in other BioBlitzes also, right? So you're
Actually,
really
no,
proactive.
this was my first one.
Well, I don't mean you, but the Park Service.
Yeah, the Park Service has sponsored BioBlitzes at a number of parks over the last 7 years. Actually, they are trying to do 10 large BioBlitzes that the National Geographic Society has been involved in as a sponsor, leading up to the Park Service's 100th anniversary in 2016.
2016 going to be a big doings then, huh? With the Park Service.
Yeah, hopefully there are a lot of efforts geared towards that anniversary and goals and projects to complete.
You guys are very user friendly. I mean, you protect what you have certainly, and that's great for all of us. But the public certainly gets a chance to share in the things that you guys do, like in the Delaware River and stuff like that.
Yeah, we kind of have a dual mission of protecting resources, but also allowing recreation and the enjoyment of the resources. And our mandate is to protect resources unimpaired into the future for the benefit and enjoyment of future generations.
And the Park Service does a lot of different kind of things. I mean, you monitor the lake,
the
river. I'm sorry.
We spend a great deal of time monitoring water quality of the Delaware River, inventorying plant and animal species. We have divisions that manage recreation on the river, a law enforcement protection division. So the resource needs to be respected and protected as people use it. And we try to educate people about the value of it, both its biological value and its value for recreation. And it's an important water supply system too. The Delaware River actually provides water for 16 million people, which is about 5% of the U.S. population.
Wow.
And that's actually more than the vast watershed of the Mississippi River in terms of drinking water. So it's a river that there are a lot of demands upon, a lot of stakeholders involved in, and New York City gets the majority and the highest quality water in their system of reservoirs from the reservoirs in the upper reaches of the Delaware system.
We're talking with Don Hamilton, National Park Service, and we're talking basically about the BioBlitz and what went on. There were a lot of interesting kinds of things with the BioBlitz, and we were talking a little bit about mussels, and you have some shell here. Why don't you tell the folks a little bit about what you told me about the importance of the mussel and
Yeah. Well, yeah, I brought this prop. This is a freshwater mussel from the Delaware River, an eastern elliptio mussel, which is the most common freshwater mussel we have in the river. And we have a very robust fauna, fauna of freshwater mussels in the river. And we have actually hundreds of millions of them out there. They filter water all day, and they can filter up to 5 gallons of water each one.
Wow.
There are hundreds of millions of them. So they provide an ecosystem service of water filtration. They're kind of like the kidneys of the river. And that's a very valuable ecosystem service that contributes to water quality and clarity. They promote nutrient cycling in the river. They provide food for different wildlife. And it's just a very valuable ecosystem service, like a lot of the other biodiversity in the river.
But Indians just eat those.
Yeah, Native Americans used to eat freshwater mussels. They're not as palatable as saltwater clams, but and actually you're not allowed to collect freshwater mussels anymore from the river unless you have a scientific collecting permit.
Yeah, from anywhere, rivers, lakes, streams. I mean, because I know that I did have some friends who actually used to go out and collect them, but you can't do that anymore. So Pennsylvania Fish and Boat Commission has kind of put a limit on that. But
freshwater mussels are just one of the groups we looked at in the BioBlitz, and a BioBlitz really gives us a picture of the biodiversity, the variety of plant and animal life found in this landscape.
Yeah, we're going to get into that in a little bit. We've got to take a break. I have another question about the mussels, and we want to get into the actual BioBlitz. So, folks, don't go away. Got an interesting segment coming up. You'll want to hear it. We'll be right back. Hey folks, welcome back. Interesting, what goes on in the Delaware River and the Park Service. I mean, did you, those mussels are interesting.
Yes, they are. When first time you brought them in and showed me, I said, "What? They can't possibly be from here." I was amazed.
Well, those mussels that we have are a little different than the ones that are in the Delaware River. Actually, a different species than the ones that we find down our dock from Wallenpaupack. They're a little different species.
Well, I never imagined that we had anything like
Freshwater
that.
mussels?
I know.
Oh, yeah. Can't eat
You
them.
didn't know
Of course. You can't do anything with them.
Well, you can feed them to the muskrats.
No, you
and the
can't
mink.
collect them.
No.
Pennsylvania, you can't.
You don't. But what you do is you keep some muskats and mink in the territory so they can come and get them for you.
They do that without. Let's go back out and talk with Don Hamilton. Hey folks, welcome back. We're talking with Don Hamilton, and he's with the National Park Service. Don, we're talking about BioBlitzes. Well, what do you feel from your standpoint? What's the importance of a BioBlitz?
Well, the significance of a BioBlitz is it gives us a picture of the variety of plant and animal life in a landscape, and that can also tell us something about ecosystem health. For instance, the aquatic insects that we collected on the waters bordering this property, Shehawken Creek, the West Branch of the Delaware, the main stem of the Delaware, were dominated by mayflies, caddisflies, and stoneflies. And those are generally pollution-sensitive organisms that you would not find there if we had problems with water quality in these streams and river. So they're an indicator of ecosystem health. There are thousands of organisms acting in concert out there to perform functions such as enriching the soil, cycling nutrients, filtering and purifying water, pollinating plants, including our crops, and creating the air we breathe. So these are all ecosystem services that benefit and sustain us that we could not easily recreate or re-engineer. They're things that are done for free, and if we just maintain a certain level of health in the environment, these things are done for us for free. They provide tremendous benefit, and they really biodiversity is the key to the maintenance of the world as we know it. Thousands of sometimes obscure, small species of plant and animal life running the world with precision and efficiency just the way we would want it to be run. And we cannot easily replicate or inexpensively replicate what they're doing.
So land use is important, and how it's used, and how we grow. I mean, there's a story, that I've heard a couple times from the Eagle Institute about, the confluence of the Delaware and the Lackawaxen is a perfect place. It's beautiful, it's serene, it's got big tall trees, it's got fresh water, it's got fish, and the eagles just love it in the wintertime, so they come down there for all of that. And that's no different than the people coming from New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Philadelphia, all the other, they see all of this great, beautiful land that we have, and they want to come in and be part of it, but that's not always good.
Yeah, well, we've got to encourage land use practices that are going to protect the resources and the water quality we have here. And the Delaware River is really a product of land uses within its watershed. The upper basin of the Delaware is still over 80% forested, and this is a landscape that maintains the ability to produce clean water. And there are a lot of municipalities down basin that benefit from that. New York City gets the best quality water in its drinking water system from reservoirs in the upper reaches of the Delaware Basin. Another driver of water quality in the river, and we didn't always realize this, is the fact the Delaware River is on-dammed the entire length of its main stem. And this connectivity with the ocean means sea-run migratory fish have access to all this important historic spawning and rearing habitat that they've used for thousands of years. And an added little benefit of that is the freshwater mussels that we have in the river require a fish host to reproduce. And the most important fish host for eastern elliptios mussels, which make up the greatest animal biomass in the river and filter water, is the American eel. The American eel is a sea-run migratory fish that comes up the Delaware. The Glochidia, the larva of freshwater mussels, become attached to American eel, live parasitically on them for about 3 weeks before they transform, drop off, and start to grow on their own. And consequently...
No harm to the eel?
No.
Or the fishes, they also attach to fish, don't they?
Well, usually specific species of freshwater mussels have a particular host fish they've co-evolved with over thousands of years. And when you exclude that fish from the system, such as in the upper reaches of the Susquehanna River, because of dams, American eels can no longer get into the upper reaches of that system. So the freshwater mussel fauna there is an aging, some of these mussels can live for over 100 years.
Wow.
So we have an aging population there that can't reproduce. They're not performing this water filtration function. They're not helping to cycle nutrients. You know, many of the nutrients in the Delaware system are taken out of the water column. Freshwater mussels feed on suspended particulate matter in the water column. They create biodeposits that are fed upon by aquatic insects, which are in turn fed upon by fish. And so much of the nutrients in this system swim back out into the ocean, incorporated into the biomass of fish. That's the way it's worked for thousands of years. You no longer have that occurring in the Susquehanna. You no longer have the ecosystem service of freshwater mussels filtering, cycling nutrients. And as a consequence, many of the excess nutrients in the Susquehanna system are flushed into Chesapeake Bay, where we have real problems with nutrient enrichment and water quality. And we're spending tens of millions of dollars trying to clean that up, whereas if we just kept the system healthy, we'd have this ecosystem service done for free. There are some biologists that have estimated the value of freshwater mussel filtering in the Delaware River is worth approximately $10,000 per river mile per day. That's a tremendously valuable service. In fact, the oyster populations that used to exist in Chesapeake Bay could filter the entire volume of water in that bay in 4 days. They no longer exist there, and so we don't have that ecosystem
That's a whole
service.
other show, isn't it?
It could be.
Because it's just so much. But you see, folks, how everything relies on something else in this world that we live in, and how important it is when we do things like this BioBlitz, and how important it is when we have scientists and we have people like the National Park Service, we have people like the Delaware Highlands Conservancy and some of these other organizations, you know, that take part in all of this and try to bring all this to light. And as you said, one of your biggest jobs was to educate.
Yeah, it's an
that's the hard
opportunity
part, educate.
to highlight and document the biodiversity we have here and how that functions to provide these ecosystem services that we've often taken for granted but are extremely valuable, and they'd be hard for us to re-engineer. So if you maintain these systems to a certain level of health and all the components that were there, they'll do this work for us. Paul Ehrlich said the first rule of intelligent tinkering is to save all the parts. Well, we're trying to understand what the parts are, how they function, and maintain them in the system so they can provide these valuable services that benefit and sustain all of us.
Thank you, and the National Park Service for being involved and taking part in this BioBlitz, and hopefully we can learn something. And we're going to put all this information on the websites, as we mentioned earlier. There are websites for the Upper Delaware BioBlitz and its Facebook page and everything else, so you can get some of this information if you're interested. You can get the information there. You can keep on, and then sometime when you hear of a BioBlitz, you know it's more than just a few people going out and picking up a few plants and animals and things like that. It has far-reaching effects. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
Thanks, Alex.
Pleasure. Hey folks, welcome back to Out in the Open. We got a lot of summer left yet, you know?
We did.
But by the same token, I was out shooting some stuff at video and things, and talking to some people who worked at marinas and around the water and stuff. And they said, well, wait, already we're talking about the end of summer. You know, it seems like it just got here. And, you know, a couple more weeks, kids will be going back to school.
I know, it's amazing.
Going to
isn't
college and things like that, you know.
It's still July, and we're talking about the next.
Well, but the
know.
college kids leave like in the middle of August
I
and
know,
stuff, so they
that's true.
start, you know, get back.
Some middle schools do too.
Do they really?
Yes, they do.
Yeah.
They start early. Yes.
So there's still a lot of time to do some fishing and some boating and kayaking and all those water sports that are so fun, water skiing.
Maybe we should. There's still some time,
Wakeboarding,
so get it in now while you can. 'Cause
Absolutely.
Summer's on the way here.
We've got a lot
At
of
the
new
end of the year,
fishing
I mean.
equipment here, and you come on and get some new bait, get some stuff.
And get some red tag sales because they're going right now here and at Broadville.
Broadville, yeah. Red tag sale. Don't forget,
So-
if you're looking for some summer wear, some summer things, short sleeve stuff primarily,
That's
as
right.
we said earlier.
Yeah.
That's the kind of stuff that's going. So 30% off that red tag
That's
sale.
not bad, huh?
No, that's good.
That's a good
no,
sale.
that's good. That's very good. Absolutely. Hey, we're going to be, we're going to be here. We're going to be somewhere. We need to do a little bit more fishing, I think.
Oh, we're going to be out in the open for sure then.
Absolutely.